Access granted.
This is a MUFON TV special report. Recently, there have been a couple videos released claiming to have retrieval of objects of non-human origins. MUFON's photo and video analysis team is the best in the world when it comes to UAPs. Let's hear what they have to say.
Last week, Russ Coulthart, an Australian UFO researcher and television personality, along with News Nation, a network, had a 2-hour special where they introduced the world to a whistleblower named Jacob Barber. During the 2-hour presentation, News Nation shows the world a very short, less than a minute video in night vision that seems to be a helicopter with a tow line picking up or dropping an egg-shaped UFO purported to be about 20 feet long and 8 or 9 feet wide. The problem with the video obtained independently by News Nation, not by the whistleblower, is that we have no metadata. We don't know where the video was shot. We don't know when the video was shot. And Mr. Coulthart and News Nation have not released that information. That makes it very hard for the public to judge if we're looking at something real or if we're looking at a possible hoax or staged event. However, MUFON has a 6-man crack photo analysis team, and to the best of their ability, they're going to give you an idea of what we might be looking at based on what we can actually see and what we can actually hear in the video. The head of the MUFON photo analysis team is Marc D'Antonio. Marc is a longtime UFO researcher. He is a television personality. He is an astronomer, and he is a photo and video expert. So we'll begin with Marc.
I wanted to tell you, I looked at this egg video, and one of the things that I felt right away was that a whole bunch of questions were just flooding into my mind. Things like, why is it being set down in a field somewhere? Why aren't there any other vehicles or personnel surrounding it like you'd expect? Why isn't it being set down in a place that's invisible to prying eyes in a field? That makes no sense. Why isn't it being set down at a military facility, right? I mean, that's true too. And they say it's night vision, but this doesn't ring true either, other than the color. I've seen night vision. I've worked on night vision videos and analyzed many a night vision video. And we're seeing what looks like a filter that is making it look like night vision, but it was something done during the day made to look like it's at night. That's what I'm feeling right now. And part of that is the shadow of the object. If you look at the shadow, it's a very sharp-edged shadow of the object. And you can say, well, they could have lights on the thing. Sure, they could, but where are they? If it's that big, why aren't they closer? Why are the lights, where are they, a mile away, half a mile away, 400 feet away? Doesn't make any sense. So the shadows are wrong. Now I could say, well, as an astronomer, I'll look at the moon and say, hey, well, this could be like a full moonlight when the moon is like just rising. But that doesn't ring true either, because there's no other indication in the video of light from anything other than something on that object. So it has to be a spotlight of some kind. But there's no hot spot anywhere in the video indicating where the light may be coming from off frame, because the source of the light would certainly be visible to the night vision system that high up in the helicopter, and you'd see a hot spot just off the view. I think Dennis mentioned the navigation lights would flash, and yes, they would. But let's say they had them off. You would still get the hot spot. That's true. If that's true, then all that's true, then I don't find this to be very credible. The other thing is, we're hearing a sound, like, okay, let's make it a helicopter sound. Technical cameras, downward-looking, technical cameras like this, number one, would not have sound associated with them. They usually don't. And number two, they wouldn't be in such an impractical location that they're right next to the cable, so you actually see the thickness of the cable blocking a lot of the important view. So this doesn't make any sense to me. So there's a lot of things wrong with this. And so I think that based on all that, and seeing the input from the fantastic photo analysis team as well, my personal feeling is that this is either a hoax or it's a recreation, and a bad one at that, of an event that may or may not have taken place. And Bob, you rightly called out the as well as others, that the shape is really the perfect chicken egg proportions. So what it is, I can't tell you, but I am calling it a hoax. I'm probably, if I assign a percentage, which I like to try and do now all the time, I'd say this is 98% hoax. And I only leave the 2% just on the off chance. But 98% is pretty good. If you had 98% odds that a surgery would go bad, you wouldn't have the surgery. Okay. So that said, I think my feeling is it's a hoax.
Next up, we have Seth Feinstein. Seth Feinstein is the MUFON Colorado State Director. He has a BA in film production. He also runs the MUFON Photo Forensics Boot Camp, which will be held this year in Cripple Creek, Colorado, from May 16th through the 18th. Information on that is available in our biweekly newsletter. What do you have for us, Seth?
I have some problems with the recent News Nation broadcast with Ross Coulthard, where he states the obtained footage from a secret UAP program, an egg-shaped non-terrestrial object, is being carried by a helicopter and dropped into a field. The helicopter was piloted by whistleblower Jacob Barber. Military helicopters film with infrared and, in this case, with night vision. The cameras on the field of view should have cast an overall murky lime green hue that does not appear in this footage. There are no strobing or aviation lights visible throughout this entire footage. A spotlight under the helicopter is focused on the ground, yet the egg casts a shadow off to the right. That means that there was a second spotlight near the ground level to the left to illuminate the egg object. We hear a helicopter sound, but nothing else in the video indicates that a helicopter was present. No ground disturbance can be viewed from the whirling blades, nor do we see any shadows from the rotating blades above. This egg-shaped object in tow looks to be about the size of a 20-foot by 8-foot object, and an object of this size would have some weight to it, let's say maybe 1 to 3 tons of weight. Now, when the object is dropped gently on the ground, and it does not plop or does it indent the soil, instead it falls on its side and then rolls. The path behind it shows no signs of any alteration to the ground soil. We do not have the original footage where we can authenticate and validate that this footage has not been altered, but this does not affect my conclusion. This film appears to be a studio-created event, using a bird's egg to represent a full-size non-terrestrial flying egg-shaped craft. After numerous broadcasts, recordings, and public statements made that this video is authentic, Richard Dolan has come out and said that this footage was a reenactment. Whomever engineered this whistleblower event must have figured out that the event could easily be debunked. This video is a hoax.
Next up, we have Sam Marento. Sam Marento is a longtime MUFON field investigator. He is also our Illinois State Director. He also has a media background, decades in photo and video analysis.
This is Sam Marento, and this is my cursory analysis of the video that was attached to the News Nation whistleblower piece that was just released not too long ago by Ross Coulthard, who was the investigative reporter. The individual who is the witness, the whistleblower, the relevance to the video is that he was a special operations helicopter pilot who did transport and transportation of sensitive objects, retrievals, be it mechanical, man-made, high-tech, novel, exotic, and what is also known as UAP. Now, in this instance, they attached a piece of footage, video footage in there, and it wasn't very long, it was relatively short, a few seconds. And that video was of a special operations helicopter retrieval. And of this retrieval, you could see from the belly hatch a tow line, and that tow line going to a sling. And in this sling, which is about 150 feet long, that tow line, there is a ovaloidal, egg-shaped object. There's no discrepancy there. It is sitting in this sling, and that appears to be a netted sling on higher resolution and analysis. I did some analysis. I've done some carve out of from the video, and also of a carve out done by Greg Cisko. In both of those, I was able to receive, or I should say in many of those, I was able to retrieve detail of netting, which would be exactly the type of sling that you would use for such an object. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that this object is somewhere in the range of 20 feet long, and it is an egg-shaped object. It is not an egg, so you could get that out of your mind, anybody thinking that it is not an animal egg, be it a chicken or a platypus. It's not an egg. It's just a shape, ovaloidal type shape of object. Now, as far as that video, apparently it came from a separate UAP retrieval operation, and it was highly sensitive. It was attained directly and independently by News Nation. It was not that of the operation that the new whistleblower had mentioned. This was something entirely separate. Now, there are issues as far as some folks thinking that because it was a night operation, apparently, it's a night vision, it's in green night vision, which would be the green phosphor, versus, say, for instance, the white phosphor, which is being used today in the night vision goggles used by the pilots and crew. They actually fly with night vision. And in fact, the funny thing about it is if you're not using it for some period of time, you have to be retrained after X number of days if you haven't been flying with it. It is very complicated from what I've been reading. So when you're looking at this video, it is green. Now, it doesn't mean that this could have been a daytime operation and somebody could have filtered it with a software that does make it look like a night vision type of video. That can be done. Being as we have absolutely no access to this information, no idea where it was shot, how it was shot, what it was shot by, if it was the camera in, say, for instance, the belly of the cargo area in the helicopter. We don't know. We have no idea whatsoever. So all these things remain a mystery. The only information we have is what everybody else sees on TV and on YouTube. The only difference is we were jointly asked to evaluate it, and that's why I say it's a cursory analysis on my part, and everybody's actually. And my opinion is that we need more information to make a decisive evaluation to some degree. And at best, it could be evidence of a UAP, but it isn't anything substantiating that it is or is not. I don't see anything here in particular suggestive of a hoax. In good faith, I know that Ross Coulthart would not do that, and I'm sure he did a very good job analyzing and looking into the veracity of what was being submitted. But trust also needs to be evaluated. So I'm sure he did that. And that's where I stand right now on this. And I guess in a couple of days, he's going to be coming out with a longer version of this interview. And I hope in this version, he will be able to have that witness confirm that this does look like what he had seen, because that isn't in the initial presentation that I seen on News Nation, unless somehow it was edited out. I didn't see him confirming that or saying a critique or giving a critique either way. But I look forward to seeing this new interview or this new length of the interview, and hopefully Jake, the new whistleblower witness, could come forward and tell us one way or another what he thinks of that video. And thank you.
Finally, we have Greg Cisko. Greg Cisko is a state section director for MUFON in Illinois. He is an astrophotographer. He is a longtime MUFON field investigator, and he was also spent 40 years at Fermilab as part of their IT security team. Greg has a slightly different take than the other team members, so we'll finish up with Greg. Greg, tell us the way you see it.
The video in question was the big reveal on the UFO special from January 18, 2025, with Jacob Barber as a helicopter pilot who worked allegedly with he claims, with the Legacy program, and his job was to move things around up and down the range. In some cases it was boxes, in some cases it was an egg. The egg in this particular video was not one that Jacob Barber himself picked up. It wasn't a video from Jacob Barber himself. It was another video, apparently from another mission. That's what we're led to believe. There's nothing in the video that the photo analysis team or myself personally has that can tell the time, the date. We have no metadata. We have nothing except the video that everybody saw on the TV screen, and there is no way to tell whether that particular video was real or not. But what the video actually does do quite well is it illustrates what was alleged that the Legacy program does. And it was basically that the Legacy program has an effort to capture, collect, and reverse engineer vehicles of a non-human origin. And in some cases, those vehicles do include biologics, and that is the big deal, along with the technology, right? So ironically, Lou Elizondo basically wrote the exact same thing, same idea in his book Imminent, and that was on page 244. Anybody that has the book, go ahead and check out page 244 and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You know, it could be a hoax. It could be fake. We just really don't know. But the one thing I can tell you is the one reason why I am not going that route 100% is because of the USS Nimitz and the Tic Tac video. So as many will remember, in December of 2017, the New York Times released a story about ATIP and the USS Nimitz incident and the famous Tic Tac with Commander Fravor. And it turns out that they also released some videos along with that story. And The Tic Tac video in particular, it turns out, was released on the internet in 2007, 10 years before the ATIP story came out. It was released on a German website. People on the website above Top Secret, I guess, were talking about it. And it turns out that there was a lot of back and forth about whether it was faked, whether it was hoaxed. And it's basically the same as what we're going through here on the egg. It turns out that 10 years later, that video comes out. The government and the Pentagon confirmed that that was a real Department of Defense video, and whatever that Tic Tac object was unknown.
Finally, I'd like to add that we also did an analysis of the dimensions of the egg-shaped object in the video. It appears that lengthwise compared to widthwise, the width is about 77.1% of the length. We compared this to various bird eggs, and we found that those dimensions approximate very, very closely a quail's egg. Whether or not we're looking at a quail's egg is not for us to determine, but all of the information we have presented to you today is for you to come to your own conclusions about. So with that, I'd like to say, if you see something, report it to MUFON. You can go to our website, MUFON.com, click on the Report a UFO button or Report an Experience button. We investigate, we make all of our data public. Support free and grassroots ufology. Thanks for having me today.